Triple G.
With action figures from every age, join us now, turn the page. From the big screen to the small. It's Geek Week, the podcast of the year. Join the fun with laughter and cheer. Toys collecting and tales from the past. Tune in now, the good times will last.
We dive into movies that make us dream, with memories like a childhood theme. TV shows that caught our eyes, let's collect the moments and rise.
Like, share, subscribe, don't miss out. It's Geek Week, the podcast of the year. Join the fun with laughter and cheer. Toys collecting and tales from the past. Tune in now, the good times will last.
Like, share, subscribe, don't miss out.
Oh, and welcome back to the Geek Weeks, episode 189. With me, Jacob's Toys, of course, wonderful one and only Super Sorrel, and Triple G is in the house as well with us.
I think you'll find it.
And Triple G! And Triple G! Triple G! This is show 189. If you're watching live, then please do comment along. We'll pull up the pull up the comments and that. We go out to a whole bunch of different places. So we'll pull up comments as we go through it, all the rest of it. If you're watching on catch up, we know a lot of you do. Mr. Sorrel, what do they need to put in the chat?
Use the hashtag catch up crew.
There we go. Just a couple of shout outs very quickly. We got Shelly in the chat, Joby One's there, C4 Darkmain's there, Dead Man Comic Cover Show, C4. Hang on. Yeah, what's this? Triple G. Congrats on your win. What did you win?
So C4 Darkmain recommended on the show I did earlier in the week that I check out a friend of his Transformer channel. So I jumped on that and he advertised a competition that the guy was running, and I won third prize. So
nice.
Now brace yourselves, guys. It's an Optimus Prime Funko Pop. So yeah, so I can't wait to get it and see what it's.
You're in.
Yeah.
Well, you did say you were over the moon, so there we go.
I have Prime, innit? It's Optimus Prime. I don't have a Prime Funko.
Well, there you go. Joshua Boy's Toys is in there as well. Geek Cultural 101, Andrew Orr, Andy Roberts, Andy H, Stephen Butler, Dead Man Comics Cover Show. There we go. It's good. How's everyone's week been? All right?
Yeah, good.
Not bad. Busy.
Have you guys had any pickups this week?
I've got two.
I got one.
You've got loads, Sorrel. You've got loads. I've seen your videos where you've been looting the shelves in toy shops.
I have, mate.
Look at this.
I'm full of cold as well now. Which doesn't help either. Ooh, T-Rex.
You know what? I'm a sucker for these case ones. So
good ones.
It's got like a massive kind of, I don't even know what size it is, like Jurassic Park kind of back, and it's the T-Rex versus Velociraptor. It's got a base and everything, and then it's got this great big Hot Toys size case.
Nice.
You know how much that was?
About 20 quid.
£22.
Nice.
So there we go. So I was quite chuffed with that. So that's the only thing I've picked up this week.
Very nice.
Well, Valentine's Day is a coming, people, and you can't have Valentine's Day without a bright pink ghost face.
Dear
Wow.
God, that's hideous.
And he's also holding a little Valentine's with a knife through it. Whee!
Nice.
But you can't have Valentine's Day without the best couple in all of horror. Chucky and Tiffany. It's a little 2-pack of Chucky and Tiffany minifigs. Again,
Nice.
Funko. But the piece de la resistance of today has to be the fact that we're traveling back to the wonderful world of the Skibidi.
Wow.
So we've now got the Skibidi mini Titan figures. These are the Titan figures that scale with the little minifigs that I've been collecting. So I've got those now. They didn't come blind bagged either. You buy a pack of 3 for 15 quid, which ain't bad. And then we got the new action figures.
Nice.
To be fair, I am literally more than 100% positive that they have literally just used. It looks like a Marvel Legends body. I feel like they contacted Hasbro and used the the Deadpool tuxedo shirt one.
Yeah.
It's that one, and then they've got the long trench one, which is only about halfway. It honestly feels like a Hasbro product because the hinges are the same, all the knees are identical, the top thigh swivel, they're all identical to like a Hasbro product. So
interesting.
But these were $19.99 each, so I got 3 of those.
I've got to pull this one up quickly.
Well,
Shelley's watching on her MetaQuest, so
I know.
like 3D or something. Is that like you like?
3D headset, superb. I've got one of them, Shelley. You'll have to let us know what your username is, and we can fight zombies together. Can I show off a rather nice book? That's not mine, but I'm going to show it off anyway. So this is I noticed him in the chat, James T. Keegan, my good pal James. We've both got some sketch covers from a guy called Ian Richardson. This is a fog blank cover. That's a hand-drawn sketch.
That's
the fog.
That's
hand-drawn.
Yeah. Ian's incredible. Ian's done a fair few sketches for a number of them, but he just does amazing work. So yeah, that's a stunner. And then action figure wise, I've been after this one for a while. This is a 3-0 RC diecast figure.
Nice
Scale because it's not
nice.
But yeah, very nice, very sexy.
RC, right? It's called RC, that one?
RC, yeah. RC. There's something special about diecast. I don't know what it is. It does it for us. I love it.
Diecast and Transformers. I'm surprised nobody's done more of that because it clearly just goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like when they did the Robo-Sen Buzz Lightyear in metal. That again just makes sense. His suit would be like an alloy, so
yeah,
just looks awesome.
That's something I have to give fan home props for. Is that Optimus Prime is part diecast. So like every kind of couple of episodes you get like a big diecast part, so the thing is heavy and metal, which is really cool, which like you say with Transformers is kind of a given, isn't it? It's been an interesting week though, isn't it? It's been a really interesting week. There's been lots going on. So I think the first thing I've got to say is have you seen the lawsuit that's come out against Superman?
Yeah, it's mental.
No, what's happened there?
Yeah.
So basically the estate of Superman, so the estate that kind of owns the rights to Superman, have said that Warner Brothers haven't got the rights to distribute the movie in the UK, Canada, Ireland, I think. Like there's a couple of places, isn't there?
Is it like a discrepancy with the whole like Action Comics versus DC Comics kind of thing?
There's been issues for years and years and years from the estate of the two guys who created Superman against DC. Because like it's same with Marvel, like a lot of these characters, they were paid for works, and then when they blew up and became incredibly popular, the comic book companies didn't really do them any favors, and basically had the mindset that you were paid to do a job, you did a job, anything that happens after that hours. So they've been fighting with DC for years. The first time they really acknowledged even the estate really was the first Superman movie, I think it was, where they put the names created by on it. I thought it was all sorted. I thought they'd settled for an obscene amount of money a while ago. So this is really weird news to suddenly kind of just jump out and say that and you're right, Jacob, it's about distribution rights, not rights to the character, but rights to distribute the film in certain territories. Which
I know the UK was definitely there, and I think
it was
Canada, and there was a couple of other places, but I know Canada and the UK were definitely down as places that they didn't have the rights to distribute the movie, which is absolute BS. Like it really is. You can't show us like that trailer and then drop a lawsuit.
That's exactly why they've done it. And the thing is, DC will just make this go away because they have enough money to do so. Warner Brothers alone makes so much money off of Batman and Superman. They'll be like, hey, bye-bye. How much do you want? Go away.
Yeah, of course.
It'll just get squashed.
But in other movie news, talk about your Funko Pop, Scream.
Yeah, you see there's 3 characters now that have been linked to it, isn't there? And they linked like 3 people to the movie now.
Yeah, one of the James will
I can't
tell
remember
in
her
the
name.
chat. It's one of the ladies from one of the earlier films. I can't remember her name.
Isn't it Julia Roberts' niece or something?
Something like that. But it's obviously it's Stu.
Yeah.
Stewie. And then obviously is it Sydney's brother?
The brother from, is it number 2? I think it was.
Yeah.
3. Was is it 3? Yeah, who was
3.
shot in the head. Emma Roberts. There you go. James is on the ball. Who was, we talked about this on One Good Scare on Friday. Stewie, you could kind of talk around him coming back in some regards because he was stabbed and had a TV drop in his head. But the brother was literally shot in the head.
What if it's not them and these actors have been hired to play a role? Because right now there's a big whole thing about deep faking and the need to bring Ghostface into a modern world. What if this time around he's not phoning you on the mobile, he's giving you a FaceTime, and instead of the Ghostface mask, you see the faces of the previous killers. So like he comes back as Stewie and things like that. That'd be awesome.
So that's quite interesting because James Keegan is a massive Scream fan, and he's got this kind of theory. So basically, each Scream movie is kind of linked to whatever the current kind of trend is at the time, and he reckons that this is going to somehow tie into AI and deep fake and all that kind of stuff, so that there'll be deep faked killers or whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be very simple, and they're just going to try to bring back people because they lost the main two casts, didn't they, from the last one, and they were like, what can we do? But obviously Sydney's due back in this one, isn't she?
Yeah.
So to have Stu back is kind of makes sense.
It's the original writers as well, isn't it? It's the original writers of Scream 1, isn't it? He's back to write this one as well, so he's coming full circle, isn't he?
I just think if they were going to go down the deep fake AI kind of route, then surely it would be like Billy and Stu, like they would do like the main people from the beginning.
I think they probably will. I wonder if it could be, if it is that, it could be that these are the ones that are just kind of announcing, because they know that they'll get a pop for announcing Stewie. They know they're going to get a pop, aren't they? They've already kind of done the ghost of Billy, so that would be old hat, and everyone would be like, oh, we're doing that again. Stewie's a big pop.
I still think, and I said this to James, I've said it numerous times, I'm a fan of the Scream franchise. I like the horror movies and all the rest of it. It's just getting silly now. Just give us just make, don't connect it to the originals. Just have a deranged killer or whatever. All of this kind of, it's the uncle of the niece of the boyfriend's sister's dog sitter. It's just mental. Do you know what I mean? They've got to run out of reasons for wanting them dead at some point.
My only kind of objection to the whole deepfake idea is that what we saw the handwriting, didn't we? We saw him writing out the line that he said in the film. How would somebody deepfaking that character know that line?
Was that not just Matthew Lillard kind of teasing it? I don't know if that's a part of the film.
It could be, it could be potentially. It felt like an Easter egg with the way of the writing doesn't look like Matthew Lillard's regular handwriting. Does it? It was very abstract and very obscure. He's just a very good guy, and he could have just done that off his own back to make it look really weird and make people talk.
Here's my theory. I'm going to throw my theory into the hat. Okay. Yeah. Sydney's the killer in this one. She's gone off the rails. Like, come on, there's been enough Scream films. If this was in real life, she would have serious issues right now. I think she's gonna be the killer, and these are all people that she sees that they're kind of the ones pushing her, and she thinks she's doing something, but she's actually doing something else.
So I didn't go down the Sydney as the killer route, but I absolutely think this is going to be some kind of breakdown. And she's hallucinating these people and seeing them and things. But I thought what would be a cool twist is if she keeps seeing, because I think we'll get announcements of all the ghost faces coming back at some point, and she'll see them all throughout the movie. And then the twist at the end will be that one of them is actually alive, and it's probably going to be Matthew Lillard. Do you know what I mean? He'll not be a hallucination. He'll actually be a real life person. Just Jacob, whilst we're talking about the Superman stuff, Fuzzy's saying here, if they only licensed it for 25 years, it would have ran out in 2017. I don't know what the arrangement was, but they must think they've got some kind of grounds to contest it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fair play.
So we've just said theory enough times now that in my head right now going round and round is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've got a theory that it's a demon.
I love that.
It's a demon. No, something isn't like that.
Yeah. Once more with feeling.
I love that episode.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite episodes of all time, that actually.
Most people, even if you're not a Buffy fan, know that episode.
The best song is Giles, but is Giles when he's singing about him kind of feeling that he's holding her back.
Mate, you are wrong. The best song in the whole thing is "They've Got the Mustard." Oh,
dry cleaning. Yeah, it's tremendous.
Also in kind of media as well this week, we had the new animated Spider-Man episodes drop. Spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it, but we had the first 2 episodes drop on Disney Plus this week. With what I believe we're having an episode a week, and then we get a 2-part finale. Did you know though that it's already been greenlit for 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Did you not enjoy it?
No.
Oh, I loved it.
It feels like
I really enjoyed it.
It feels like Marvel Entertainment are looking to make something similar to the current, the Miles Morales films. It honestly feels that way to me. It's too abstract, looked weird.
Oh no, it really felt like I was watching a comic book. Like that's how it felt to me. There's a couple of things in it I didn't like. I don't like the changes in characters. I'm a bit kind of a sucker for the origin stuff. So obviously the Harry and Norman is obviously changed. The Dr. Connors is changed. But Nico was a cool inclusion, like Peter going to school with Nico. And I don't like the fact that they've kind of changed the origin story a little bit. They've changed it a lot. Uncle Ben's still already gone. The spider comes from some kind of symbiote universe. Like, I just think having the symbiote at the beginning, like not Venom, but like a symbiote type character, and having that spider come from there is bridging that gap between like Secret Wars and all that kind of stuff. I think that they're kind of trying to pull all those in together. But I really like it. The one thing I did think though is that the fact that they've greenlit it for 3 seasons. If you remember back to Civil War, when Iron Man meets Peter Parker for the first time, he says, "Oh, how long have you been doing this?" And he said, "Oh, about 6 months." So 3 seasons of this is technically going to be condensed into 3 months before we got to Civil War.
Oh, right.
That's my thinking. Unless they're going to jump forward and we're going to see stuff outside of the movies and things taking place. So I don't know.
Haven't they already said this is not a part of the MCU though? Isn't this like completely different to the MCU?
It doesn't feel connected. It feels different.
I thought the whole point was this wasn't MCU now. I think originally it was going to be, but I thought it was its own thing now. I know you're right.
Because that's why they changed the title, didn't it? Because it was originally freshman year or something.
But you've seen the airport scene with Giant Man. There's images of that.
Yeah, similar to it. Yeah. So much. I mean, I've a little plug. I've done a video on this. I bloody loved it, and I hear what you're saying about changes to characters and things like that. But it didn't faze me in the slightest. And people keep saying, Fuzzy, my pal in the comments there, and Terry, if you Dead Man, have said things like, it's not made for us, it's made for a younger audience. I must just be very young at brain them, because I know it is made for a younger audience, but I still sat and loved it. I loved the theme tune. Couldn't tell you who the people that sing it are. People were getting very excited about this, the group that sang the theme tune. Didn't know who they are, but it was a banging tune. I thought the animation was great. It's got us interested, and I'm loving the fact that they're dropping little names of characters that I know and recognize, and I'm thinking that doesn't fit the bill at all. So, for example, I didn't realize until I was reading some books afterwards, the guy who asks to be his lab partner and then is the big jock playing football and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you click that's Tombstone? So that's Tombstone in the comics. Becomes Tombstone. I was thinking, wow, I just totally missed that one. Straight
went well over my head.
Yeah. So
straight over my head.
And yeah, I'm there for it. I'm enjoying it.
Cliff on Comics said,
sorry, go on.
Hi, Cliff.
Cliff on Comics said it's MCU adjacent. They've already declared it's no longer part of MCU.
Yeah, I've had a quick look it up, and it says this follows Peter Parker's origin story in the early days of Spider-Man, as set in an alternate timeline from the film's main MCU PowerPoint, where Norman Osborn becomes Peter's mentor instead of Tony Stark. So it's an alternate timeline completely. It's like running adjacent to it's the whole Spider-Verse, isn't it? But it's running adjacent to the current the current Spider-Man.
Cliff on Comics is just blowing my little mind here, and Fuzzy's confirming here. Just before we go on, Cliff on Comics, by the way, guys, is an American YouTuber who I've had on my channel before. He is absolutely phenomenal. So please do check out Cliff on Comics over on YouTube. He is amazing. So much energy. But Super Pro, do you guys remember Super Pro, the comic? Mental. Marvel American football player. But I didn't pick that one up either. That's the high school coach. That's incredible. Love it.
I did like the fact that when Strange turned up, he obviously didn't know who Strange was, and Strange was very much in his comic book accurate kind of original get up and stuff with the yellow gloves and that. And it's interesting that he obviously doesn't know who Doctor Strange is, because they would have been sort of batting around New York together and stuff. So
I tell you what else I thought was really, really good, and I am old, so perhaps it's just my ears, but I was really straining because at first I thought, oh, they've got Cumberbatch to do Strange's voice, and I thought Spider-Man. I thought that sounded a bit like
to start with, he did,
Andrew Garfield as well,
yeah.
but not Andrew Garfield. Sorry, who's the
Tom Holland?
Spider-Man? Tom Holland. Yeah. So the voices were great. I mean, it's neither of those people, but it was just near enough for us to kind of question it for a minute.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it. But it's interesting, so that you say about the Miles Morales stuff, because obviously if this is MCU adjacent, we've now got another Spider-Man running around who hasn't shown up in that Spider-Verse stuff. So I do wonder, now that they've got the kind of Marvel animation, whether they're going to lend him to Sony or something like that. I don't know. That'd be quite funny.
Hopefully. There's a massive cast list to this film, though, isn't there? Because like the Vincent D'Onofrio and has come back to do the voice of Kingpin, and the guy who plays Daredevil's in this. So there's a lot of people, and then the list of like secondary characters that are going to be in this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They are pulling a lot of like smaller characters as well that you wouldn't normally think about. Yeah. They're being pulled in.
We've seen in the trailer that Daredevil's going to be in it in a very interesting black costume, so that looks cool. You've got Scorpion going to be in it. Obviously, we had Dr. Connors, so the lizard, potentially.
I wondered if the Daredevil costume could be the one, from the Netflix TV series before he gets his proper one. Yeah. He's got the black with just a black jumpsuit, more or less. Yeah, he could be wearing something like that because it could be his early days as well as Spider-Man's. It could be like both characters coming up more or less at the same time. That could be quite cool.
Be interesting.
Yeah. Where Wet Boy 40 Graham said 3 episodes on Wednesday, then another 3 the next Wednesday, and then 2 episodes for the finale. I knew it was something. I knew we had 2 episodes for the finale. But yeah.
Can I just say I'm loving his little logo there as well, Green Goblin. It's very cool.
That is very cool.
Speaking of Wednesday, did you see the Netflix trailer that came out?
Yeah.
Showing all the different things coming out. That were a cool way of doing it, wasn't it?
Very cool.
The amount of Easter eggs in that thing were insane. Because there was a bit where she blew through a wall and all the books come flying at the screen. If you paused it, did you see what names were on those?
Oh, no, I don't think I did.
So one of them was Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Frankenstein came really close to the screen. And there was 2 more. The reason I know their thing is because one of them was what's that one coming out that's just come out today?
Wolfman?
No, the Netflix television series about the girl. Something like it's not Watermelon Sugar. That's that stupid song. Watermelon Sugar.
Watermelon Sugar.
But it's something that's on Netflix right now. Anyway, there was like a television series name that popped up at the same time. So they're all clearly in the works. And they showed like obviously Squid Games 3, Cobra Kai. Obviously that's out in like a week's time now.
Stranger Things. Stranger Things.
Yeah. Stranger Things. The people on that have even said that the last series is like a collection of movies. They said it's like a blockbuster series, this one, so I'm well hyped for that.
I'm hyper for Stranger Things because I mean I've enjoyed it from the start, but I have to say the last season for me was probably one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. I can't fault it. Do you know what I mean? Every episode was a banger. And proper horror as well. I mean, it went proper. The bit where she's floating and start snapping and things. It's like bloody hell.
Yeah,
loved it.
It's just such a good show. The idea of coming to the end of it is really, I'm disappointed that we're coming to the end of it, but there's that excitement, isn't there? Because obviously it's rounding up and it's finishing. So where's it going to conclude?
The thing you said about the getting darker as we're going further, it's similar to how they did with like the Harry Potter franchise. So like as the kids got older, the stories got serious and more darker, whereas you couldn't have done them scenes with them kids from series 1. It wouldn't have worked. They were too little. But now they're kind of getting into their adolescent later years and stuff. It works.
But also it works for the audience in some regards because you get the younger people watching season 1 and naturally they are aging and growing up
with the program.
Mature level of programming, Just about what you said there, Jacob. I don't know. I'm of the mind now where, even though I love certain shows, I would much rather they had a conclusion than just kind of drawn them out and it loses it. You know?
In this day and age as well, where so many things are cancelled and kind of left on cliffhangers and we don't get a full conclusion and stuff, like, you know, back in the day you'd get something like Lost that would come out, you'd get like 10 seasons of it, it would conclude like half a dozen times, then come back for another one. Whereas nowadays you kind of get into a decent show, and I find it really hard to pick up a new show become invested in it, because you know, because of the cancelling and because of things being dropped and stuff. So I do like the fact that we've got a conclusion coming. I do like the fact that there's that endpoint in sight for Stranger Things, and we're going to actually find out how it all kind of, you know, rounds up.
I've told you, mate. I've said this for months, for years, even now. We know how it's going to end, don't we? We know how it's going to end.
Well,
Already told us.
You're sticking with your D&D idea, aren't you?
The whole show's been D&D. It makes absolute sense. I'm sticking with the Jumanji ending. Sticking with the Jumanji ending. I really am.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be angry. I think people would be more angry about that than they did the Lost ending. To be fair, I think there would be outrage if it was like it was all a game. You know, that's. But
no, because that's the whole point of Jumanji. It wasn't just that it happened to them. It happened to them because they can remember it. It just like didn't happen to certain people because they didn't exist in that timeline. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just, I like that concept. I think that could be a cool callback. But no, the fact that as well we already know who's going to kill Vecna. We already know who it's going to come down to and who's going to get the final blow in. We already know that.
Yeah. Because
again, we had the D&D game when Vecna was just there with all his henchmen and he only had one eye and all that crap. And it was Lady Applejack, I believe, that got the final blow in. So I would love for that to come true in the final bit when they're all, like I've said before, they're all decimated and been battened, you know, all battled again. Then she just comes out of nowhere with the killing blow because you wouldn't expect it as well. And then you can just have Eddie's ghost there, sort of doing that like he did in the thing, just CGI him in as a ghost, like a force ghost. Yeah, with a D&D dice, something just rolling it in his hand or something. It's like good game, guys, good game.
That'd be pretty cool. C4 said any commission show that does at least 2 seasons should be contractually obligated to produce a conclusion. Yep, totally agree with you on that one, mate. Fuzzy as well.
Sorry, go on.
Go on. No, go.
I was just saying, that's why I'm looking forward to the ending to Cobra Kai as well. The fact that it's coming to a natural conclusion and that the series people have said we're going to continue with all other stuff. But this storyline has got an ending, and it's coming up. So I'm looking forward to the fact that we are getting the final few episodes, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Those storylines are over. We're going to move on to something else.
The only problem with that, though, is obviously with like Danielson being in the next Karate Kid movie. Like,
it's fine to continue with like the individual, like, and I think that what I'm trying to say is like, the Cobra Kai as a thing is done. You know what I mean? So the characters continue. It'd be horrible if they did like what the shows have done, where they've done a revival and then it lasts for 2 episodes, then quits halfway through. This has got a natural story from season 1 to the final series. You can watch that as an entirety. You don't have to worry about what goes on the other side of it, kind of thing.
No, I mean the 3 big players on Netflix all coming to a conclusion this year, though. We have Squid Games, Stranger Things, and Cobra Kai. Like that leaves 3 big gaps in Netflix kind of shows. Just pulled it out there. Fuzzy said, talking to character change, it will be interesting to see how many people moan about Oscar Isaac playing Dr. Frankenstein. I'm kind of for it. I quite like him as an actor. I think he's pretty cool. I think he's one of them ones as well where I don't like Pedro Pascal, for example. I only see him as Pedro Pascal now. Like it's in The Mandalorian, in Last of Us, like in Fantastic Four, I'm really worried about it. But, you know, Oscar Isaac really does kind of become the role, if you like. But yeah. Pad Bear J said, as you were talking horror shows and Lost, have any of you watched From? Just watched season 3 on Sky Max and it's pure horror. Yes.
It's superb.
Me and Triple G are both big fans of it. I am on the last 2 episodes now.
Oh, so it's superb.
It's coming to a conclusion now.
But my worry with From, I am absolutely loving From, I have to say. It's superb. But But I hope it doesn't go the way of Lost. I hope it doesn't just keep going on forever and adding more mentalness. You know, like, because it's getting crazier and crazier. I want a conclusion to that, but it is pure horror. There's some superb scenes in From.
My son came in when I was watching. It was the episode where the ambulance arrives. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, this looks really good. This looks really good." And he watched it, and I was like, "Listen, you have to go back and watch season 1 because season 1 to me was just like a horror show. It was very Salem's Lot-y. You know, it was a horror show for me. Whereas now we're kind of into the realm of a little bit crazy. So I was like, right, that girl's just been for a tree, but she's now come back through the tree, and she's brought with her the dad of that old man that was a kid." And my son was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, go back and watch season 1, and then you give me a shout when you catch up."
It is tremendous. Great series.
Andrew Orr said, "Is anyone else having problems with the chat?" I don't know. We've got a lot of comments coming up, so just let us know if you're.
We are streaming on 3 different channels, Andrew. So sometimes it depends which channel you're putting your comments in on. The StreamYard pulls all the comments through to one chat for us, but sometimes there's a bit of a delay, I think.
I think what it might be getting is obviously there's people watching on my channel, Jacob's channel, TripleG channel, and you won't be able to see everybody that's in the chat. It doesn't like pull all the chats together. So there is 3 individual chats going on right now, but for us it looks like one big one. So people might see comments coming up on the screen that aren't anywhere else. It's just because of how StreamYard works.
We've got Mr. X in the chat. I don't know if are you guys familiar with Mr. X?
He said there as well. I suspect TripleG Comics will sign on with Netflix.
I'm just negotiating my fee, Mr. X. Mr. X has got an absolutely superb channel, which is predominantly it's geek based, but he also does an awful lot of stuff, mainly about statues, high end statues. Worth checking that out. And he's insane. He's bought one of those. What do you call it? The X Beast thing. They're like the huge, fancy people carrier armored bloody cars from Tesla. He's doing a lot of videos about that. It's phenomenal. I mean, I think he can take like bazooka rounds and shit like that. It's amazing. But yeah, check out his channel. He does great content.
That's it. We will. C4 Darkman said the old lady in season 1 that wanted to come in and then ate that family. Oh, yeah. That was what hooked me on it. That whole part. I was like, yeah, I'm sold on this. This is it.
Just whilst we're talking TV, guys, can I just say I just spotted today, can't remember what the exact date is, but we're finally in the UK getting the last season of Superman and Lois. It's coming out in February, BBC One, 11:30 at night. I mean, that's not going to attract new viewers, is it? But yeah, so that comes to its conclusion. The guys over in America have already seen the end of the season, and it's supposed to be phenomenal. So really looking forward to that.
I'm really annoyed because I kind of YouTubed it because I didn't think we were going to get it. So I YouTubed that fine. It wasn't really any spoilers. You know where it's kind of going. But yeah, it was good. But yeah, it was good. What was the other thing as well? I saw another one. Oh, James, there we go. There's a tease for Final Destination Bloodline.
I've seen that.
I haven't seen that yet. Yeah. Final Destination for me is a bit done. I'm not. I really enjoyed the first couple, but I'm kind of over it a little bit now.
So because of the way I live my life, I guess Final Destination's always had a place in my heart because I'm crackers like that. Because I'll take my kids when they were younger. I'll take my kids to the park, and I'm seeing all the dangers around, and I'm that's going to fall. So watching the Final Destination movies is kind of like. But I'm a big fan of that particular franchise, and they can take it in so many different ways. Went to see. Sorry, I know you're a big horror man. Went to see Companion today. That's an interesting watch.
All right,
that's
very good.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't want to give spoilers away. Don't watch any trailers for it if you can. But it's good. It's good. Yeah.
While we're talking TV as well, let's talk He-Man. Obviously, John Irwin passed away tail end of last year. For anyone that's not familiar, John Irwin was the voice of He-Man from the 1983, I think originally it started. But basically, when you think of He-Man with that glorious blonde bowl cut and giving you a life lesson at the end, that was John Irwin. He also done a few of the other characters as well in the show, which I didn't know.
But again, it's one of those. There are certain voices. I don't know if it's an age thing, but there are certain voices that are just iconic for me. And his voice is just, if I think of He-Man, that's who I hear. And I think that's probably part of my problem with the Masters of the Universe film. Dolph Lundgren was so far removed from what I expected He-Man to sound like,
You know what? If they did they are doing a He-Man movie, aren't they? Like a live action.
Yeah.
If they gave him a voice like John Owens, that would be incredible. But I think it would hit everyone like right in the field. I when I kind of heard, it was just before Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But when I heard, I kind of went back and I was looking at. There's a lot of kind of tribute videos out there and stuff, and I forgot how crazy some of the kind of messages at the end were.
Oh, good bonkers!
Like, some of them are absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Like, one's about like not taking drugs from anyone other than your parents and doctors.
So right. So I've been doing, again, a bit of a plug. I've been doing a series of videos and I've got loads kind of scheduled up for the next few months called Pop Culture Playback, where I'm looking back at old TV series.
Yeah.
And I've done He-Man, but I did a one on Bravestar, filmed it the other day. There's an episode of Bravestar where Bravestar, you guys are familiar.
Yeah. Strength of the Bear.
Yeah. Speed of the Puma and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where you literally see two kids climb into a kind of a water tower thing. One of them takes drugs. You see his eyes rolling and he's kind of going, The kid goes to get help, comes back, he's dead. It's like, what the hell? This is a kid's cartoon. It's like really, really deep. I don't remember them being that kind of.
I don't remember him. Like there was the one about not taking drugs that stood out to me. There was another one about like a quick fix, like a quick. Like, there is no quick fix. Like, work hard, it pays off. Like, and I was like, what? I do not remember these as a kid.
You mean this one? In today's storyline, Elena tried taking a magic potion, which she thought would help her. Well, she found out there aren't any magic potions, and you know what? There aren't any magic drugs either. Anytime you take one from anybody but your parents or your doctor, you're taking a very big chance, gambling with your health, maybe even your life. Drugs don't make your problems go away; they create more.
I'm hoping that Sorrel just has that in his head. He's not reading off a screen. That's just Sorrel.
Just memorize them all.
Yeah. Now I picture him tucking his kids up in bed and doing that. Remember,
kids.
Triple G, if you're doing this throwback thing, maybe you can answer this question for me, because I read somewhere, and I needed to do my research in this to find out whether it's true or not. But I read somewhere that He-Man never throws a punch.
He doesn't. He-Man doesn't fight in anything. He doesn't really fight in anything. He waves his sword around a lot and does that, but there's very little physical activity.
I remember it being all like. I mean, I have watched some of it with my kids, and I do kind of
punches the screen. He punches
Yeah. See, maybe that's where I'm getting mixed up then, because I remember seeing him throw punches, but obviously it's in that.
He throws a lot of rocks. His response to most problems is chuck a stone.
I remember that. I do.
Like they'll chop a rope and that'll cause something to fall on something. Or, it's always he never actually causes any bloodshed from his physical hands or sword. It's always something in the background.
Fuzzy's saying who fights in their underwear, but that's the secret, Fuzzy. He's a barbarian. It's not underwear. They just didn't have razors back then. You know what I mean?
Andy H has just spoiled it for everyone because John Owen also voiced Prince Adam.
Come on, Andy.
Just blown the lid off of that one there. But yeah, no, he did. He voiced a couple of the others. I think it was I know Beastman was one of them, but there were some of the others in there as well that John Owen kind of done the voices for. Can
I just sorry, I'm all my kind of my what you call it? Promoting my own stuff tonight. C4 Darkmane, you should do one in the 70s and 80s safety ads. Already filmed, ready to come out. That comes out in a few weeks' time.
Please tell me you did Death on the Water one.
Death on the Water. We've got the Farmyard one with that. Have you seen the Farmyard one?
No.
Gee, God.
Honestly, put a grate on it.
So the Farmyard one is a series of basically 5 kids. It's called Apaches. It's a little bit racist. But basically they go to this farm for a day out. Jeremy Clarkson owns it, I'm not sure. But basically, one by one, it is like Final Destination. They all die in horrific ways. But the best death is the pop passing this bottle around, and the little girl takes a drink and it goes, "Oh, it doesn't taste very nice." That's it. Cut to black. You see the outside of our house at night time, and she goes, "Mummy, mummy," and then there's this horrific, like proper horror scream. Ah, dead. It's like, what the fuck? It's honestly incredible. So yeah, I've got that one coming out featuring Charlie Says, the electricity lines, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Charlie Says never takes me
I
to the street. But
I
no,
think they should bring them
one on
back.
the water. The one on the water always terrified me with that voice of death.
It's Grim Reaper. Yeah.
That branch will never hold him. It's like, oh, that's.
But the best bit of that one, sorry, Jay, the best bit of that one is when the kid says, "Oh, don't go near the water," and it goes, the death thing goes, what is it? "Ah, my arch nemesis, sensible children."
I'll be back.
The other one that I start the video off is have you seen the bowling one?
No.
But I mean, we're getting into deep stuff here, but it's about HIV/AIDS, and it's literally people hanging as bowling balls and death bowling them over. Got you again. It's like,
Wow.
After that,
Mental.
after you've done that one, then I'll put the next one because I know someone's going to comment it. Anti-drug commercials should be
oh,
next
yeah, that's a good one.
because they're amazing
Yeah,
as well.
that-
This is
yeah.
your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
I think they should bring these back.
Fuck it, get some help.
I honestly think they should bring these back in their, like, not even remake them, just put them back
Put 'em
out
back
on
out,
the
back
air.
on.
Because like the silo one and the grain, do you remember that one?
Yeah,
I think that's a great one, isn't it? Put a grate on it. Like,
Great on it. Yeah, it's the one with the
that
pit grains.
scared the life out of me, and I did not.
What do you know what
I
the
avoided
thing
the
is?
silos.
Pit grains. Who had a pit grain? That would have been easier to go around and just put a grate on the actual people that had a fucking pit grain.
Yeah.
There's a horrendous one. I haven't, because when I did some research for the video, there's tons you could have used. I only wanted to do 5, so I'll probably do a sequel. But there's a one about railway tracks where it's a kid sat imagining. It's like Squid Games, so he's imagining how things could happen. So it's set up like an old sports day, and it's right. The next game is everybody runs across the tracks when trains are coming, so they do that. But then you see just bodies everywhere, or run into the dark tunnel and see who gets out alive. So they do that, and then the thing hits, and honestly, horrific, absolutely.
Yeah, but back in the 80s, that kind of was our fun. Like that was kind of like
It was, yeah.
we didn't have computers. Like it was, you got to a certain age, and it was, you know, all about
Natural
silos.
selection,
And dark
right,
tunnels,
absolutely, yeah.
you know,
I do hope you did the one of Charlie with the please avoid the man in the Mac and the Hat, because the Mac and the Hat was like a thing back in the 80s as well. Like there was never any dudes hanging around with a Mac and a hat in Britain.
no.
You'd instantly go,
Especially
he's a
not
runner.
after those adverts. After those adverts, the sales of Macs and hats just went down. It was just
The
like,
man in the Mac.
I
and the
remember
hat.
as well, and I don't remember. I don't know if this was like a Mickey take one or whether it was a genuine one, but one on video piracy. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Like was it a genuine one or was it?
So it was a
which
genuine one, but then they did a brilliant skit of it on the IT crowd.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rob a car. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it cuts to Matt Berry's voice doing it, didn't it? Going, you
Yeah.
wouldn't rob her. And they give it back
Yeah.
to her. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, it was a real one that was on pirate on DVDs back in the day. But then IT Crowd just famously redid it and made it a lot more famous than what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one I remember.
Same with the because of IT Crowd, I still remember 01189998811197125 That is ingrained in there.
But this is what I mean. This is my point: is that they should bring these back because kids nowadays aren't scared. Like you know, you put on that Death on the Water one. Guarantee you there'll be a few scared kids. Like,
Oh, they're,
you
they're
know,
laughable now, though, aren't they? Some of them are laughable now.
That's
Yeah.
you know, like, as we're kind of talking about, I guess that's where we got the good old Green Cross Cruel Man, isn't it?
Yeah,
Darth Vader himself. Yeah.
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 It was.
Happy days, happy days.
It was. C4 Darkman said, I nearly got abducted by a Mac man on a stock when I was little. The block brick when
Bloke bricked it.
my dad and my mates came out. Was he actually wearing a Mac and a hat?
Was that real? I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Is that real? I'm sorry. So
He's still having psychological
He's-
support
and I'm
for it.
just
And you're
laughing
mocking
at
him.
him.
You're
I'm
mocking
sorry,
him.
The thing is, though, as well, is that like surely when those adverts are out, like anyone buying a Mac and a hat, like would have raised suspicions in its first.
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
And what are you doing with this Mac and hat? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
hanging around some playgrounds. Like, just you know. But yeah, I don't know. I never saw any Mac.
Puppies were the thing, weren't they? It was Mac Hat
Look at
and
my puppies.
just random puppies. You want to see some puppies?
Sweets and puppies. But
Oh,
I must
yes,
admit,
This
Great
is a
minds.
genuine story, right? My parents, when I was little, this is famous in my family. We still say it to this day, and we still laugh. There's me, my cousins, and all my friends on the street because we used to hang out on like gangs back then, didn't it? It worked like a thing. And we're all about the same age. And my dad does the whole, what do you say if a man offers you drugs? And my cousin went, "Thank you." And that to this day, he's never lived that down. That's the family like go-to joke now.
I must admit though, do you remember when Mark Morrison came out with a Return of the Mac song? Like, I was at the age where I was kind of like, Mac has a whole nother meaning to me, but there we go. So, right. C4, this is getting worse. So you're just fallen off a swing, you got hit in the head, a man then came up and offered you puppies wearing a Mac. Like this, what's that number again, Sorrel? Wow. But yeah, no. But yeah, originally we were talking about He-Man. I even got my He-Man figure out from like one of my He-Man figures out. But yeah, obviously John Irwin, huge part of my childhood anyway. I know a lot of other people as well. And the funny thing about him as well is he was very recluse. He wasn't somebody that a lot of people kind of recognized, but you obviously recognized his voice. But yeah, it is a shame. It's obviously, we are getting to that age where these people, they are. He was only 80. Yeah.
C4 Dogman saying when Peter Cullen goes, "Yep, I'll be broken." Absolutely, one of my absolute favorites is Peter Cullen. I'm lucky enough to have got a few signatures and signed items from him, but just incredible.
But it does raise the question. We were talking in like the chat and stuff. Obviously, with James L. Jones, he signed over his voice rights, didn't he, so that they can continue using them and the character will be immortalized. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you think is a good thing, or?
Well, I think there are two arms to it. I think if the individual is still alive, or their estate or whatever, and they are up for it, absolutely. I like the idea of Peter Cullen, who's getting on in years, and to be fair, his voice isn't what it once was.
No.
But I like the idea of him in his heyday being able to retire because he's been handed a big wodge of cash to live on forever as Optimus Prime. Because in my head, his voice is always going to be Optimus Prime. So if he's happy to do that, if he's on board with it, absolutely, crack on with that. I think that's very different to some dodgy companies using AI to try and generate voices that sound very, very much like the actor.
Didn't I do that when we introduced you to the show?
Yeah. But if Peter Cullen's up for that kind of stuff, absolutely. Interesting tidbit. I might have already shared this with you because it was when I was doing some research into Peter Cullen a while ago. Do you know what other very famous voice he came up with pretty much on the spot? It's so obviously he's well known as being the voice of Prime. He's done tons of voice work as well. He was brought in to do the original voice and character noises for the Predator, and he had a very specific voice made and all the rest of it. And he was one of the first people that ever saw the image of the Predator without the mask on, the helmet on. So they showed him that, and in his head he jumped to it looks like a hermit crab kind of thing. And he just instinctively came up with that very iconic. I can't do it. Sorrel might be able to do it. That very iconic kind of noise. The Predator. I can't do it.
I can't do that one.
Yeah.
The one noise I can't do.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'd never realized that was him, Peter Cullen.
Wasn't it Jean-Claude Van Damme as well in the suit?
Originally in the suit. Yeah.
Start running around in the suit. So
he weren't going to get the airtime and quit, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm kind of for it. The voicing. I think in the example of like James L. Jones being Darth Vader, I think that kind of makes sense. You wouldn't want somebody else kind of taking it on because I don't think anyone else would, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think everyone would be kind of a bit hesitant to kind of step on those toes. The same as Peter Cullen and Optimus. I know Chris Hemsworth did it, but he did it differently. You know,
I kind of like when they brought back old Anakin to play with Darth Vader and stuff, and they kind of gelled the two voices, didn't they? So when his mask broke, you could hear both James Earl Jones sort of synth voice with his. So I think that's kind of cool to do stuff like that, but to straight up use someone's voice for years after their death is a bit because then you've got to worry about new actors aren't getting a chance, and we can't rely on that forever. It's like Batman. It'd be very cool to hear the animated Batman voice go on forever. You know what I mean? Because it's so iconic. But then you're not giving new actors the chance to play Batman. It's a very fine line, isn't it? Like, how can you say no one else can play Darth Vader, but it's all right for something like Batman? You can't pick and choose. It's got to be one or the other. Like, I'm all for AI. I love AI. I think it's going to do great things for the planet, but as well as bad things. But in creatively, I think it's a negative thing. Creatively, it gets rid of creativity. It does it all for you. Like I was talking to my dad's massively all for AI. He's a massive advocate of AI, but like he's trying to making a website for himself at the moment. But he's done the whole thing with AI and bots and things like that. I'm like, that's taking all the fun out of creating a website. Surely it's like should be a creative process. So I think AI can kill creativity as well as aid it.
Yeah, I agree.
But then again, they said that when Pixar first made Toy Story, Disney Animators Worldwide and Animators Worldwide boycotted it and went mental.
Yeah, that's very
but
true.
It became the norm. So I think AI is just another thing we've got to come to accept in years to come.
Yeah, I think the only difficulty with the voice actor side of it as well is that where are those going to be used? Like, at least the actor has the opportunity to kind of sign on or not to a project. Whereas if they're kind of signing their voice over, you could have like James Earl Jones in a Darth Vader role that he never would have agreed to. And I think that's the only difficulty. But I think, in the kind of like the example of kind of John Irwin being the voice of He-Man, like that's living on in a different way. The work that he did in the 80s He-Man as the 80s He-Man will forever be the 80s He-Man. I think that's quite a thing, for him to be able to live on as that voice of
and it's interesting how quickly you do get used to other voices as well. So using Transformers 1 as an example, I went into that expecting to hate Chris Helmsworth playing Optimus. By the end of the movie, he was Optimus. Do you know what I mean? I'd kind of just let go of all of that. So you do get used to it very quickly, I guess.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Someone said it in the chat as well about Jim Cummings is another one that's going to be a big hit when he finally goes. He's such an amazing voice actor, Jim Cummings.
Yeah. Andrew said voices can be so connected to characters. Mark Hamill to the Joker as much as Luke Skywalker. Yeah. Mark Hamill is a really good example though, because I don't hear Luke Skywalker when he's the Joker, and I don't hear the Joker when he's Luke Skywalker. There we go. Stephen Butler, very quickly.
Didn't he famously say that? Sorry, mate.
Go on. No, finish it off.
I was just going to say, didn't he famously say when Kevin Conroy passed, he wouldn't play the Joker again, didn't he? He kind of said that his Batman dies with his Joker kind of thing, and
he did.
He'd never work again as the Joker now, which I think that's very honourable. That's a really cool way of signing both characters off.
He did a great thing a couple of years back. I don't know if you saw a series he was doing on Amazon, I think. But he went to DC headquarters, DC Comic headquarters, met Jim Lee, and Jim Lee drew him. They made a deal. Jim Lee would draw him a picture of the Joker if he would record a message on Jim Lee's iPhone voicemail as the Joker, and he does it, and it is just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Incredible voice.
Just going back to Predator, Stephen Butler said that Jean-Claude Van Damme wanted the Predator to be a kickboxer. Joel Silver said he didn't want that, and in frustration, he broke a $20,000 Predator head by throwing it on the ground. I can't imagine the Predator being a kickboxer. Let's be honest.
No, absolutely not.
It wouldn't have worked, wouldn't it? It just wouldn't have worked at all. But I'm all up for kind of immortalizing characters, but I'm a bit concerned about how they do it. That's the only thing.
Like I say, I think if the individual, like I say, if Peter Cullen wanted to retire and have a few good years and got a big payout from them and was happy with it, then yeah, absolutely no problem with it. And I would imagine your estate should have creative control in some regards of what happens after that, you know?
I think the scary thing when you're talking about like AI and stuff, though, so like Cullen's Optimus, for example, there must be so much voice clips out there that with AI they could pretty much write a script. I would have thought.
Oh yeah,
It would be very easy to do. But where would the law fall on that? Because that's not technically him. That's a computer-generated voice based on the sound of.
So you know when they did the Darth Vader voice for the last Darth Vader outing with Hayden Christensen, the team at Disney, because there's that thing, isn't there? Have you seen the behind-the-scenes thing on Disney Plus? They used 2 sound clips to make his voice. To completely recreate James Earl Jones's voice. One of them was the "No" from episode 3. They used that because it was a full range, and then they used "This is CNN." They used those 2 sound clips, and then used AI and basically recreated a full script of his voice from 2 sound clips.
Yeah.
So all they need is the pitch and the pace, apparently, and then they can practically do anything.
The really the really scary thing is, though, is that there's programs and apps and websites and that out there that you or I could go on and create an AI generated version of your own voice. You could literally record videos with text in your voice, but I don't think they're quite up to speed at the moment. And the thing is that the only problem with AI is that you do lose that personal touch. But you know, when you emphasize on something or get excited about something, like, it doesn't know how you feel yet. But it's scary, but it's exciting all at the same time.
The moment robots can feel is the moment we all die. We don't want that to ever happen. Science fiction has told us about this for years.
Yeah. You warn them with.
I just remember like Terminator being so science fiction that it seemed unrealistic, but in reality, I think they just got the date wrong.
It's around the corner.
Let's be honest. I think they just got the date wrong. So yeah, that's coming, Judgment Day.
Did you see the latest thing about the Megans? Speaking of that, like Megan, did you see the latest from Blumhouse?
No.
They put a picture out of Megan on their Instagram. She's got a blue eye, and it just says like "I'm connected," and that's it. So I think the idea, like, she's gonna take over the other Megans in that, like there's gonna be like a factory somewhere.
A swarm of
like a swarm of Megan, and she's controlling them from like the head bot or something. It'll be something daft, like her core memory bit survived or something. Someone plugged it in. Because was that bit where they went back to the lab, weren't they? And she plugged herself in basically and accessed everything. So I reckon there's going to be something to do with that. And it's the way they said "I'm connected," so they can basically go on forever now with Megan.
Yeah.
Every time she gets destroyed, just bring a new body in for it to go into.
New version.
G.I. Joe as well. You mentioned about that in the chat.
It was G.I. Joe Day yesterday. Go Joe!
I am still here,
mate. I said the word Hasbro and you ran. Jesus. Yeah, it was G.I. Joe Day.
For legal reasons, I cannot be on the screen. No, I'm just sorting my camera out.
To be fair, I thought most of the announcements that they did were absolute cack, but there was one. And it was a where is she? Let me find her. I thought this one was pretty cool. It was Cover Girl. They did a retro series, Cover Girl, and I thought the face sculpt on that was phenomenal. The other ones were pretty cack. They've already released like 1,000 flints. We don't need another flint.
No.
But let me just get a picture of this one up because it was amazeballs.
The Cover Girls.
Jacob's there to put this up. Oh, my computer just died a bit. I think.
You're just lagging.
Here we go. Boop.
Yeah, very good.
That does look rendered, though.
There she is.
Does look heavily rendered.
Could be, I think. But it does say digital render. But I thought that looked pretty cool though. If that's what they can achieve, if it looks like that at the other end, then I'm all for that. That looks well good. Face tag on that.
I don't remember her as a character. I mean, G.I. Joe's I've not read for a while, but I did collect the figures a lot back as a kid. But I don't remember Cover Girl. I have to say, I don't remember her as a character really.
I think those two.
To be brutally honest, I never liked G.I. Joe as a kid, so I have no idea who she is.
Those two head sculpts could be really versatile.
I always saw the G.I. Joe. Sorry, mate.
No, I'm just saying them head sculpts could be really versatile.
Yeah, my thing with G.I. Joe was when they came out, I was all for them for being just a generic military or spec ops kind of looking characters. Because then, like, there was a couple that you could put with Indiana Jones in a scene and it looked all right, or you could use them as like someone coming to take down the Punisher in a toy photography, or use them as like I used a bunch of the like 80s looking ones like Gung Ho and stuff like that for like going up against the Predator, because they look like the dudes that would be in the jungle hunting the Predator, don't they, from the 80s films. So like, yeah, I think they've got a very versatile appeal to like toy collectors, and they are very customizable. You can just add and remove bits to every character and make something completely new.
Yeah,
I've picked up if I tend to do is my collection is very steeped in nostalgia, so I'll go back and I'll get my favorite characters from a line. So I've got an original Snake Eyes, an original Storm Shadow, and I'm looking for a fully set up original Zartan, because he was one of my favorites. Is it Zartan? The guy with the interchangeable faces and all kind of stuff. So I've picked up some of the modern G.I. Joes of the same figures, and I've got a few of the 3-0 and 1/6 scale figures, which are really good actually. But Fuzzy saying in the chat there, I would never have bought a female G.I. Joe character as a kid. I think I had a couple. I had a ninja one, I seem to remember. Jinx or something, I want to say. And I definitely had Scarlet and the Baroness. I think I had Baroness.
yeah.
Baroness is probably what started my fetish with people in black latex.
I was going to say, I think every young lad had a Baroness.
Yeah. Very well sculpted. Very well sculpted.
Andrew Orr brought up there about the Spider-Man. Only reason we're bringing this back up, we did talk about this on a previous show, but we've got a price point now.
They actually released the price.
Well, that's what we're saying, that it's coming in around $60. So
I've actually released the price though. Is that official?
I haven't seen it officially marked, but
because I know they're being very cagey around this one. They're not releasing the info.
But yeah, if you've got any info on that, Andrew, let us know, like where you got that price point from. But it is definitely going to be at the top
it's going to be
higher
ridiculous. I reckon $52.99 is the guess I've gone for. I wish somebody like one of the YouTubers would go around and collect everyone's guesses, because I'd love to like see like a poll of all the YouTubers, like create all the creators and all the toy creators and who said what and who got it right. It'd be great, because I think every single toy YouTuber has weighed in on this one at this point.
Yeah, it's just a lot. I just think it's a lot for what it is. It is good, but there's other figures out there that
I can't see any prices yet on the official Pulse. So
I just think when you look at like the Beast Kingdom Batman figures that we were looking at, and they're coming in at like 50 quid, and they're 8 inches. They come with a whole bunch of accessories. The detail on them is kind of almost to kind of 1/6 scale quality, like $60 if that is, you know, that's a lot of money. But I think it's going to be a top end. I think it's going to be a higher end priced item. It's not going to come out at the same kind of price.
Well, no, because that Electro, you see the price on that bad boy?
No. Yeah, that was like $32.99 or something. So
$36.95. Depending where you buy it from. Obviously, there are different prices all over the place. Comics Cocktails on pre-order for $32.99. It just depends where you order it from. Like Star Action's going straight up for the $36.95 route. So that's nigh on 40 quid for a Legends. It's not. You can't even remove the face thing. There's no there. What? I don't know where that price is coming from. It's outrageous.
You know what? The thing that really frustrates me, right, is that no, I don't buy many Legends anymore. I don't pick them up as regularly, but I have got my Spider-Man Far From Home set up. So I do need Lizard and Electro to kind of complete that. I'm a bit of a completionist, and I don't want to leave those two gaps empty. But the same figure was released in the recent wave. We had that female version of Electro. So you had an Electro figure with 2 lightning effects and 2 additional hands. And that's all you get with this Jamie Foxx Electro. And it was literally like 10 quid cheaper or $10 cheaper. I just don't like they're literally milking it for, because it's a movie character that they know people are going to chase after.
And people have tried to justify it by saying, like I've heard a couple of YouTubers sort of say, but he's a big chunky boy. And I'm like, no, he's no chunky in the Roadblock from G.I. Joe, which is a $24.99 figure. There is no justification for the price, except they know that people are going to pay it because they've waited that long for it. And like
There's
I
a lot of
say, to get
sculpting.
around that likeness, they've had to put that stupid mask on him.
Yeah.
Because Jamie Foxx
They haven't.
lights.
Yeah, they haven't got the likeness for Jamie Foxx, which is, you know, that would have been one of the reasons for a higher price point. Yes, there is new sculpting on it, so all of these kind of like bits and pieces, like they've had to sculpt that, yes, but there's obviously a lot of reuse there as well. But you know, like I said, the lightning effects are literally the exact same lightning effects that they've just put out with the comic book female Electro. And I don't know, I'll end up picking him up, but I think he'll be one of these ones that a lot of people will kind of sit on and wait on and then not be able to pick up because it's not available.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous game, really. It really is. It's kind of like, do you shell out that money now, or do you risk paying more later on? Like, I don't know. My justification is I haven't picked up a Legend for a while, so I was kind of like, you know what, that's one I need to fill a gap. So fair enough.
I only ever pick Legends up if they're on massively discounted. You quite often, if you go to Comic Cons and things like that, you quite often find the minting card reduced down to like a $5 a figure and things, depending on what wave it is. Obviously, it's obviously just the figures that haven't sold particularly well. So that's the only time I'll ever pick them up. Like I got my Speedball and things like that, doing that, you know.
Yeah. C4 said as well, more third party and 3D printers are pulling away from Hasbro and other companies in terms of quality. Like, we mentioned Bravestar earlier on. Again, got a big shout out to Ramen Toys, who did the Hell Charger. They've recently their Marshall figure has just come out, and it's stunning, absolutely stunning. Obviously, the price point on it is a little bit higher because it is a third party company. It's like they're not third party as such; they are their own company, but they're much smaller scale than the likes of Mattel and Hasbro and stuff like that. So their overheads are obviously more expensive, but it is a stunning figure, and it comes with a whole bunch of, you know, everything.
They've done 30-30 as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
I'm sure they've done his horse as well. Yeah, which just looks amazing.
But they're touching on a lot of nostalgic stuff. So they've done Centurions as well. They've done what was the other one that they did? There was another one. They've done the sewer set for the Turtles at the moment. Okay. So they're doing loads. They're doing loads. But yeah, I think with 3D printing nowadays, you are competing against, you know, there are some amazing sculptors out there putting their designs on, you know, available to purchase, available to download. You've got the ability, if you've got the cash, you can get an incredible 3D printer in your home and just kind of like put these things in your home. And also you've also got websites that like, you know, like your Temus and your AliExpresses and stuff that are selling the counterfeits, the high-end counterfeits that you can get your hands on. It's got to be a dangerous time. But talking of Hasbro, there was a lot of clickbait videos going around this week because obviously they announced that they weren't making toys anymore, which isn't what they said. What they said is that they're focusing on games and they're focusing on you know, there's I can't remember the exact terminology that they used, but essentially we're putting a lot of focus into this. And because they didn't mention action figures, everyone jumped on it going, Hasbro aren't making action figures, but that's not going to happen.
What we saw with Power Rangers and Playmates, I think we'll see a lot of that this year. I think they'll hold on to the licenses for like G.I. Joe and things like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if more companies got the license to make the toys on behalf of Hasbro. I think that's probably the way they're going to go to fund their new projects.
Yeah, and it makes sense. If I personally owned the IP for a bunch of stuff and it was kind of like, okay, I invest all this time and money into producing it myself, or I just get someone to give me a load of money and let them do it. I go, happy days. Like, you go, like
Hasbro get a good. I mean, they get a good whack of revenue from licensing for, like, obviously people don't think about things like the Power Rangers comic books that sell really well, the Transformers comic books that sell really well. They put a lot into that. And the fact that if you look at Hasbro Pulse's YouTube channel, they're live 9 times out of 10 playing old Transformers cartoons. Obviously, there's advertisements attached to that. If they're live more or less 24/7 a day playing old cartoons, idiots like us will sit there and just binge watch it while it's on. I've done it. I've put Transformers on this week. I've had it on playing for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
just in the background while I'm working. And obviously I'm paying them. There's advertisements coming up. So they must get a decent whack off of that with their subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're making money without having to do toys in this day and age, really.
Yeah.
So, like, with the play, I mean, how much did Playmates pay them for Power Rangers? So, I mean, if another company comes along, like, I know they obviously don't own Marvel and Star Wars. I've got a feeling those licenses probably will slip away from over the next year. I think they'll disappear in the background slowly. But like G.I. Joe, they own 100%. Transformers, they own 100%. If they can license them out to more people like Bandai, Chigoku, SH Figure Arts to make things like the Transformers overseas in Japan, they're going to do it because that's where they sell the most, because it is that market does buy more of those types of figures. So, like the licensing, they'll just make money off that. Massive.
Yeah, 100%.
Easy money, isn't it? For them? Easy money.
Easy money.
Interesting comment there from Joby One. Obviously, being a Black Series simp, he's hoping that they hit him with something similar to that Spider-Man for $50 and give us certain characters.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one to sort of see that there are other Hasbro collectors out there hoping to get more of these figures. So, you know, maybe that's just me. I think it depends what you collect, doesn't it? I suppose if you're all in on one particular line, then the idea of something bigger and better at a higher price is potentially, exciting.
Maybe if Marvel Legends, instead of a Spider-Man, they announced like Blade with all his gadgets. I'd be the first one in the queue, and I'd be justifying it because I want Blade. It just depends on the character, and I've got no connection to Spider-Man. I despise Spider-Man more than anything. Not a fan of him. So I mean, I'm not bothered about his figure. But if that was Punisher or Blade or something like that, I could all the bits, all the guns, and I'd be all over that in a heartbeat. But
you know what?
It's because it's Spider-Man again, or a Wolverine, or a Captain America. The fact they've already said the second one's going to be Hulk, that's going to be £100 figure right there.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's just me kind of transitioning into 1/6 scale in the last kind of year, but the accessory side of it doesn't bother me as much. I much prefer picking up a figure if it's got no additional kind of accessories, but the quality of the figure is higher. I have no problem with that because the accessories all just go in a drawer. I kind of pick the display I want. I might swap a hand out or a head over or something like that for a photo or for something, but most of the accessories kind of get bagged up and put away because I'm like, right, I want this figure to be displayed this particular way. So accessories and additional hands and stuff don't excite me as much.
So it's funny, when I first got into 1/6 scale collecting, excuse me, maybe 2-3 years ago, something like that. I decided to get myself some. You can get them from B&M Bargains. It's kind of like a toolbox kind of thing. These boxes, and every time I buy a 1/6 scale figure, I take all the accessories and I put it in a section of the toolbox. So I've got them close to hand, and I can get rid of the boxes, put the boxes wherever, with the intention of I'll swap out things, I'll do different photography, blah blah blah. So I've been doing that for 3 years. Never opened a bloody box other than to put stuff in it. So all the accessories just sit there. Really,
that's what all this is over here. These boxes here are all my bits and pieces, and it takes up display room. I'm like, we're into the last 15 minutes of the show though, so I think we need to kind of discuss the title of the show just to kind of give it a little bit of a bit of credit. So obviously for anyone that is watching, this show's titled The Last Show, which is an interesting title to throw out there. We originally started the Geek Week a long time ago. I've actually got a date here. So our first show went out on the 21st of June, 2021. 21st of June, which actually means that the Geek Week predates my youngest child. I've had a child that's grown up since we've been doing a Geek Week. Both Sorrel and I have moved house. We've both had a house move while we've been doing a Geek Week. Both of our collections have changed. We've obviously had countless amounts of guests, countless amounts of plus shows. We've literally been live every single Sunday since starting the show. We had Ryan on as a co-host. We've recently brought on TripleG as a co-host. However, this is potentially our last ever show.
Is it?
Sorrel, do you want to explain? Do you want to expand? Sorry.
Yeah. Right. I'm leaving. I'm sort of leaving the podcast. I'm pursuing my own stuff for a little while. I've been a part of this now for a little while, and I fancy pursuing some stuff solo, like Robbie Williams back in the day. I'm leaving, take that. And But yeah, I don't think you guys should stop. I think, you know, I've kind of like, no, you shouldn't stop. This shouldn't be the last episode. I think you should continue with Triple G. I've said that all along.
So we've said the last show because obviously Sorrel is leaving the band. He's breaking the band up.
I'm breaking the band up.
He's breaking the
I'm
band
going
up.
solo, mate.
He's breaking the band up. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm like Robin leaving Batman. I'm going to be Nightwing now.
Mate, no. But no, he yeah, so we've been doing it since 2021. We've been doing this every single week since 2021. Me and Sorrel talk pretty much every day in one way, shape, or form. And yeah, so
you've set my phone off now. Do you hear that in background now? I've got messages after messages.
C4 said you can have my gran as a replacement if you like. Sounds good. And she got socials, like let's talk about it. But no, we've said the last show because I'm going off to New York, not forever, just on a holiday. And Sorrel's departure kind of ties in with me going off to New York as well. So me and Triple G are going to look to continue the Geek Week anyway. We got a couple of potential ideas, a couple of potential people as well that might be coming on to join us. So the Geek Week will continue in one way, shape, or form, but we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus. That's the right word. Just because, as I said, for me personally, I've had a child, and that child is grown up and is turning 4 this year. the Geek Week predates. So yeah, having a couple of weeks off. So I'm going away in a couple of weeks. So we're not going to be live next Sunday for the first time in over 3 years. And we won't be live the Sunday after, which coincides with my New York trip. But me and Triple G are going to chat, and we're gonna kind of come back with Geek Week Series 2.
Yeah, but let's just get this out there as well. Like, there's no animosity, there's no problems. I'm still going to be working with Jacob, I'm sure, on lives in the future, just not the Geek Week. It's just the podcast is a thing every Sunday. I'm kind of stepping away from, but that doesn't mean I'm stepping away from Jacob. I'm not that evil. You know what I mean? I didn't want him crying in the corner. He's already been crying a little bit this week. It's been a worse breakup than like my missus doesn't care as much as you. I found that out this week. So like I'm sure like I'm going live with Triple G I think tomorrow night to do toy news and
Tuesday.
stuff. I'm on his Tuesday. So I'm live with Triple G on Tuesday, and
yeah,
I do my own show on a Wednesday. I'm my own sort of super Sorrel in his man cave kind of video. And yeah, they think things are still happening, people. I don't want anyone in the comments to think that this is it. None of us are going live ever again.
No,
it's not. It's not
so,
the be all and end all. It's just this 3-year little gap, 4-year little gap is just coming to a little end for a time being.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean in a few years' time we won't do something different and we come back all together under a new name. It's just for now. For now, it's not right for me, and I'm moving away a little bit. You got to think, when we did this originally, right? We were both hardcore Hasbro people, right? Times have moved on and changed a lot.
Well, I was thinking about this. So our first ever show, like and onwards, like it was very much like I was talking about Marvel Legends, you were talking about Star Wars Black Series, and that was kind of our creative kind of combination that kind of created the Geek Week to start with. And in the time that the Geek Week's been going on, you are now massively into your blind bags and your small stuff. I'm back into I'm into my tool stuff. Like our collections have completely evolved. So it is changed. And like you say, it's not, there's no animosity, there's no thing. It's just kind of this version of the Geek Week has kind of just now run its course, and we're where we're at. It's
Not gonna lie, guys, I feel a little bit like Yoko Ono. Do you know what I mean? I've come on and split the band up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that by Shiny. I can't believe Sorrel is being fired so Jacob can take his ad revenue and go to New York.
Not quite like that. Not quite like that.
Do you know what the funny part is? I think I'm the only one out of all three of us that runs ads on this. I think you guys that don't even have any ads on yours, do you? I think it's only me that's being the greedy bastard in the corner running adverts every 10 minutes.
Sorrel's the full-time YouTuber. Me and Triple G just do this as fun. Like, Sorrel's Andy H said he said there's no issues, which means there's issues. Clearly, creative differences. Yeah,
no
basically,
issue.
I was just not down for the blind bag, and Coral was not down for the 1/6. And no, I'll tell you what it was. We met up for the first time ever a couple of weeks ago at Toy Fair, and we just really didn't like each other. It was just kind of like we were just like, nah, like this isn't cool. Like I turned up and Sorrel turned, we just didn't get on, and we were just like, no, we need to call it quits. No, all jokes aside, there is no animosity. You know, it is just a case of it's kind of run its course. But it won't be the end of the Geek Week. Like I said, Triple G's come on board recently. We've got a few ideas. We're kind of just putting things together, but it kind of makes sense to Andy H, they've both been seeing other YouTubers finding things back and this before it comes out to the press.
Yeah, you'll find out that I go live this Wednesday. You'll find out that I go live with Dan Who or something, and I'm now part of the Who crew. Can you imagine? Could you imagine imagine Jacob's face if I just pop up on Dan Who's channel next week like, hiya! New super producer, Super Sorrel, hi!
It's no, we've had fun. We've had a lot of fun.
I wonder if he's lurking in the chat now. I bet so many people are lurking in this chat tonight to wonder what the hell we're on about.
Shelly said, just as well Triple G joined, otherwise it wouldn't be a Geek Week ever again. No, the funny thing is, we were talking at the beginning of the year about bringing somebody else on board. You know, we had kind of had Ryan, then didn't have Ryan for like a year. And then we were like, we need to bring someone else on board. Obviously, Triple G's come on board, and Sorrel's using that as a stepping off point, which is cool. Right, and that makes sense.
That's like my thought process, and I kind of said this to you the other day. When we brought Triple G on, right, it was like a case of now I don't feel like I'm like if I'd have left the show and we didn't have somebody else there that's been here a couple of weeks already and kind of knew the ropes and stuff, I'd kind of felt like I've just abandoned you like a little puppy at the side of the road. You know what I mean?
Right,
I give you a kick as I walked away, kind of thing. So I kind of like, and I'm like, we'll bring Triple G on and we'll see how it runs, and then it's kind of like, can't speak. Like you say, you were like, we started out on Legends. I was the Black Series guy. Then we kind of slowly fell out of love with the action figures, full stop, more or less. And then kind of like you've gone for your big high end mandals. And I've gone for my tiny children's toys, and it doesn't gel anymore, really, does it? It's every week we're kind of like, and then the Hasbro news, shit. It don't work anymore, like to that respect. And we were talking more movies than ever and more TV than ever, and it just came very different from what it started as. So it kind of felt like it was right for me stepping away at this point. I told you to be there. Look at you lurking. I told you to be lurking.
Right, listen, sorry, if you're jumping over to Dan's channel, we're gonna have to have words, mate. No, good to see you, Dan. But no, there isn't. It's one of them things. We've been talking about the Geek Week anyway, and like I said, I mean, I've got 4 kids, and the Geek Week's older than one of my children. Like that says everything. And we were kind of looking at doing different things with it and all the rest of it, and that just doesn't align necessarily with other things. So yeah, Sorrel's gonna. But the thing to remember as well is that we've all got our own channels independently. Like we all do our own stuff independently. This is not the only thing that we do on a weekly basis. We'll work with different brands, we'll work on different projects, we'll look at different figures. So we're all going to carry on doing that kind of stuff. It's just we've called it the last show because we're going to take a break for a couple of weeks, and then the Geek Week will be back with the next one. Who was it that put it in? Somebody put it in the thing in the chat. Right, there we go. C4 Geek Week, the next generation. I'm not Trekkie, so I do like it.
You're not a Trekkie, that's it. I'm out.
That's it. Well, this is the last show ever, right? There we go. But
the transfer window hasn't closed yet.
Oh, the jokes. You know what the funny thing is, though, is that we never got Dan on the show. Like
he never wanted to come on.
I don't know who Dan is. Is Dan a you?
It's I don't need to look him up. It's fine. Don't bother. No, he's a guy that does Marvel Legends.
Jet be the new co-host, mate. She's been in the press recently. She might be looking for.
My phone.
She might be looking for something. But yeah, so that's it. So that's all it is. That's why we're calling it the last show. So we are going to take a break. So there will not be any Geek Week going live next week or the week after. And then we will be back at some point in February with the new show. So we're gonna have to get a new intro written. That intro is so good as well, but we're gonna have have that written.
Yeah,
Like,
Just for,
yeah.
just
Can we
people that are
change that?
listening as well. I mean, with Triple G as well, because not knowing who Dan Who is, just out of the Dan Who is a Marvel Legends YouTuber. For anyone that started on our podcast that kind of still wants Marvel Legends news, Dan's probably your guy, to be honest. As much as we rib and we have fun, there's no animosity. We all just, it's just fun to rib other people, innit?
Yeah.
But we're all blokey blokes, which like to poke fun. And but yeah, Dan's over there. He's a good lad. He's all right. I might pop up on his channel next week. You never know.
Andy H just said, I hope it's raining outside when I walk home so no one can see my tears. Did you guys ever watch Flight of the Conchords?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, it's the for anyone that doesn't, for anyone that watches watched Flight of the Conchords, just Google the "I'm Not Crying" song. That's my feeling at the moment. JT, my daughter just said she thought you were Rick Grimes. You've said this before. I'm not. I need to get a cowboy hat, but I'll take that. That is an absolute compliment. I will 100% take that. Yeah, 100% that. But yeah, Andrew, thanks for the years of entertainment, guys. It's been fun. We appreciate that.
You can all stop blowing up my phone now. Can I just say, because like when Jacob first, like when I sort of first told Jacob, here's a fun story, people. When I first told the story to Jacob that I'm leaving and stuff like that, it took him a bit for it to settle in. Obviously, he wasn't sure if I was pissing about, and then obviously we let TripleG know in the group chat, and it honestly sounded like I was dying. So I had to put a comment. I said, I'm not dying, people. I'm just not doing a podcast anymore. It's fine. And people are now blowing up my phone like I'm dying or something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I'm fine. I'm in good health. I'm just not doing a podcast anymore. Come on, people.
And he said, stop blaming your daughter. We all know it was you, Shelley. But C4, I'm going to take that as a compliment. Look more Negan than Rick. I'll get a baseball bat instead of a cowboy hat. There you go. That's fine. I'll take an in them. No, but that's it. But listen, in all fairness, it has been an absolute blast these last like 3+ years. We've had a lot of fun.
Please don't tell me about a montage. I know what you're like. Are you made a montage?
I haven't.
Are you going to try and make me cry like minutes before I go offline?
I genuinely didn't have time to make a montage. I wanted to, but there was just too much out there to do a montage of. And I started putting it together and I was like, this isn't the best bits. This isn't the best bit. So yeah, it's all out there, but it has been a lot of fun. And obviously, like Sol said, there's no animosity. We're going to be going live with each other under different banners and stuff like that.
We're still going to be meeting up at London, I'm sure, because we're going to go both see Power Rangers at London. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that's still going to go ahead as normal. I mean, TripleG, I'm still going to be checking out with you, probably at HorrorCon and all sorts of other stuff. It's not like we're never going to see each other again, people. This isn't the end of Greece. I'm not going off in a big silver car singing Walla Bing Bang.
Yeah. But that's it. But listen, that's going to round us up for now, because otherwise we're just going to end up going down the road of random stuff. So we will not be back next week. But myself and TripleG.
Sorry.
Okay. Myself and TripleG will be back with episode 190. Which is a nice round number to kind of start the next chapter on. But yeah, Sorrel, it's been a lot of fun. I'm saying it as if I'm never going to see or speak to you again, but I'll probably speak to you tomorrow, and we'll be doing something very.
Oh, like 10 seconds after this podcast goes offline, and we're all in the group chat, all awkward, like, well, that was fun.
So yeah, so we will be back, just not next week. So enjoy a couple of weeks without us. That's been it. That's the Geek Week, episode 189. Of course, do check the description of the video for everyone's individual channels. We'll
Game back. Over, man. It's game over.
Like, share, subscribe.
It came in too early. It was set up to go at 11, but there we go. Listen, until next week.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Like, share, subscribe. Don't miss out.